So welcome back. Happy New Year. We are back to Reinvent Her for 2022, where we talk to women who are reinventing themselves through pivot, redesign, and relaunch. So today we have with us Nicole Munn, and I am super excited to talk to her today. She is a local esthetician here in the Albany, New York capital region area, and she's going to tell us all about her journey to where she is today. And then she's also going to talk to us about what we can do for our skin to make sure that we are looking our best as we move into 2022. So Nicole, thank you so much for joining us tonight. And please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you so much for having me. I am Nicole Munn. I work at Spa One. We are affiliated with the plastic surgery group right in Albany, New York. I've been an esthetician for about 12 years now, and it is very much a passion of mine.
I love listening to you talk about your passion. So can you tell us a little bit about your career journey, kind of how it started and how you ended up unfolding into what you're currently doing?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. So I was fresh out of high school. I was waitressing, which is also something that comes very second nature to me. I've been doing that even part-time while building my book to be an esthetician. But as I was waitressing, there was a woman that was coming in. Pretty much, she was getting her kitchen remodeled, and she was coming in every day to Friendlies, and it always seemed to end up on my rotation. So we ended up like talking and getting to know each other, and she was requesting me. And pretty much by the end of summer, she's like, "What are you doing? What's your plans?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure. Probably attending community college, etc." Well, she said, "I'm opening up this medical spa in Latham." It was called Rejuvenate. Now Accent on Skin, and maybe even something different now. But that was the start of aesthetics. It introduced me to the world of medical spas, aesthetics, lasers, Botox, injectables, and I fell in love. And then while being a receptionist there and just really learning about the industry, it's what motivated me to become an esthetician.
So you went to go get licensed so that you could move. Go ahead,
forward. Yep. So there was at the time there were 2 aesthetic schools in Albany. Now there's only one, which is the Aesthetic Science Institute. I was pretty lucky. I went to Austin Beauty School. They unfortunately no longer offer the aesthetic program, but I was so lucky to have the teachers that I had. So one was a New York State test examiner who really prepped us for it. Another one was a science major, which is one of my favorite subjects. And she really just drilled in a lot of just the anatomy of the skin, conditions, concerns, and just had a very cautious approach. And she was one of like the best teachers. So it just really, it was, so they prepared us very well for the aesthetics exam.
Now, as an esthetician, you focus in on the skin. So what is the difference between, say, an esthetician who works at maybe a salon versus an esthetician who's working at a medical spa?
So there is additional training for medical aesthetics. All estheticians are able to do, a wide range of things. We do facials. There's a ton of different facials that we offer. There's makeup, waxing, tanning. The medical aesthetics really is my favorite. It's where I think it's not that you can't get results from the regular day spas, but these are more in some ways invasive, and medical grade treatments just tend to have more results. So
they're more focused in on specific areas for your clients?
Yep. So we do things when you're a medical esthetician, you're able to do microneedling, you're able to do laser hair removal, deeper depths of chemical peels. So we're able to kind of like expand and do other things, which is very interesting. And working under surgeons, there's just a level of how should I say, like there's just
it's okay, like the next level up with what you're doing in your career.
Yes, and it's just like there's a standard. That's what I was looking for. Sorry, I had a brain fart. But there is a level of standard when you're going into a medical spa when it comes to like the procedures and the products.
I see. So I can see. So there's a standard difference with medical, and then there's almost like, not to say there's anything wrong with, but just it
Yes.
almost as if you're going into a store, it's like you can get general or you can get, you know,
Higher end. And I
professional.
know, yes, right. And it's not to say that these other day spas do not offer quality
Right,
services.
absolutely.
I'm definitely not saying that, but
Right.
I think medical, yeah, I just
Just a
stand
different
by it.
standard, and I like that.
Yep.
So now, with you guys being the type of work that you're doing as an esthetician, it's very hands-on. So when COVID kind of hit at this point almost 2 years ago, you guys had a complete shutdown, like the rest of us. But the how were you able to pivot within, or were you able to pivot at all, and how has it affected your business?
So it's tricky. So initially it was really bad, especially for the hands-on aesthetics. Uh, that those few months, I was fortunate enough to work for a medical practice that I was able to still work part-time and receive an income. However, where I felt I pivoted was just kind of like knowing like more education. I studied
Mhm.
more on the downtime, learned more techniques with facial massaging, and trying to understand social media and get better at it. I
Yeah.
am kind of like my feet in two different eras, and it's something that it's a little hard for me. I excel one-on-one. I thrive one-on-one. When I have a client in the room, it is where I become alive, and you see the education come out of me. On social media, it's something that I just like have to get better at, and I felt like if COVID did anything, it taught us to do this.
To
It's
do this,
what we're
yeah.
doing even right now. And but I will say my industry, the moment we were able to do facials again, we have what we call the Zoom boom. So the not only did the estheticians and hairdressers really kind of see a surge in their business, so did the surgeons as well. More people were staring at their faces and saying, you know what, or had the downtime to kind of
Yeah.
really say, I want to learn how to do my skin, and I want to make changes. If COVID taught me anything, it's I'm going to start taking care of
Yeah.
myself
The
more.
whole self-care
And
movement.
yes, I'm so fortunate. My business grew tremendously in 2021. I saw a huge growth um, in just the retention of clients coming back and trusting me and trusting my knowledge and trusting the game plan that I provide for them. And that to me is like so rewarding. So I really think that COVID, it really, the silver lining, it really just grew our business
Yeah.
in this
And
industry for
I
sure.
think that's so great. And I think what I love about you personally, but I also love about your industry is it's very service forward. So you're
Yes, for
always
sure.
thinking of your clients on how you can be of service to them. So like you were saying, when COVID kind of shut you down, you had to pivot onto social media. And I can tell you for certain, despite the fact that I started my business in 2020 when the shutdown happened and it was all on social media, I can tell you that I every single day have to coach myself to do this very thing all the time. I
Yeah,
have to have that conversation with myself. But I
no,
think
totally.
you utilizing social media to kind of talk to your audience and talk to them in a way where you're teaching them about different things that you do on a daily basis, I think that's such a huge piece, because people don't always know what to, especially for me personally. I was not somebody who had a skincare routine. Working with you first and then trusting you to help me with my skin is what kind of put me into putting a skincare routine for myself. I
Nice.
always had
Thank you.
that just because of I always felt, well, I don't need to. Everybody tells me I look younger than I am anyway, so I don't need a skincare routine. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But then I
right.
got to that age where I was like, okay, now I'm climbing over 45. I think it's time for me to start getting a skincare routine.
Yeah.
You
We
find
also
that?
encourage though. We also, I think the biggest thing I mean, yes, correction is important, but the thing that we've also noticed with COVID, but in general, is that skincare and health is all about preventing. You
Yeah.
don't want to wait until you're in your 40s to reverse any damage. you want to really start in your 20s and be preventative. Wear your sunscreen, which is the number one cause of aging. Actually, if 12 years ago, fresh out of school, if a girl were to come to me and say, okay, and she was in her 20s and she said, I had no skincare products. I washed my face with bar soap. Tell me one product to change or to add into my regimen. 12 years ago, I would have been like, oh my gosh, let's change that bar soap. Now it's sunscreen, because the
Okay.
sunscreen is going to prevent the discoloration, the fine lines, the breakdown of collagen and elastin, which is all the things that us women are trying to reverse.
Yeah.
Because mine and your generation, especially, we were very fond of the tanning beds, baby oil.
Yep.
The younger girls aren't doing that. They're very good about, and that's the other thing with COVID. Our market, well, not, yeah, even more after COVID, but the market used to be 35 in my industry, and even in the filler and the minimally invasive procedures on the surgery side was typically 35 and older. What we're seeing is that these younger girls are not tanning. They're starting injectables earlier. They want the facials, they want the skincare. So the market has also expanded and they want to be preventative. But
Right.
we
And I
also have the
think
clients that are
that's
like,
key.
yeah, no, it is. And we also have a lot of the other clients that were fortunate to not age quickly. And, once they hit their 40s, they might have saw the early signs and they were like, all right, action. So it's great to have both. It's great to see both and to see the results unfold.
Yeah, because that was definitely me. Didn't have a skincare routine, hit my 40s, and I was like, I should probably do something.
Yep. Never too late. Never too late ever.
So you had mentioned the one product that you would add is sunscreen, which I think is huge. I wear sunscreen all the time, year round,
Yep.
365 days. But what is the one product that you would say people shouldn't use? Maybe not a
Shouldn't use.
brand name, but really that you shouldn't be using because it's not doing anything for your skin.
Okay. That's tough. I don't really, I mean, it all depends. Like, I guess it does factor in on brand in some cases. It does depend on the skin type because, I mean, it depends on what you're asking. I do think a cleanser is important. I
Okay.
think the SPF is extremely important. If you wanted to be like, break it down to like, what are the key products?
Yeah,
I
I would
think
say
you
that.
have
Let's
to have,
talk key products. What would you say if you had to have a top five things
yep,
for your skin? What would those top five be?
yes. So cleanser for sure. You have to cleanse your skin. You have to remove the residue, the dirt, the makeup. Even if you don't wear makeup, you really want to cleanse your skin at night, especially. And that cleanser should be geared towards your skin type. So cleanser, you want a SPF, a moisturizer, and then the two like active ones that would be almost like a game changer for your regimen that is not only corrective for aging, but it's also preventative. And that is like my favorite duo, vitamin A. So retinol, I'm sure everyone hears it. Retinol is an accelerator. It is what creates cell turnover. It is what diminishes fine lines, discoloration, and brings that fresh skin to the surface. Vitamin C is an antioxidant that not only fights free radicals that damage our skin and the environment, but it, also helps with fine lines and collagen production and is really good with the sun and protecting when you pair it with an SPF. So I think those two are a powerhouse, and those five products would really be a game changer. It just
Okay.
would. And if people are more simple than that, cleanser, SPF. Like if it had to be two products, I
It
would
had to
say
be
those
two.
two.
Now, do you
Mhm.
think that people need to have different regimens for different times of the year? Like, say, winter skin regimen and then, say, a summer skin regimen?
So yes and no. That can sound really overwhelming to a lot of clients. Like, oh my gosh, I have to buy all these new products, and there's certain products that can last 3 to 4 months, which would be seasonal. Um, However, we do get drier in the winter based on where you live, right? If you're living
Okay.
in California, may not be seeing as much changes in your skin, but for us and where we live in upstate New York, we do tend to get drier. So the one thing we would probably say is maybe increase your moisturizer or
Okay.
add in a hyaluronic acid. So for clients that are on the drier side, they totally can bump it up to a heavier moisturizer. But for ones that are oily and prone to breakouts, bumping it up to a heavier moisturizer could cause them to break out. So we don't want that. We would add in a hyaluronic acid, which is water binding, and it's an hydrator. So them layering that with the lightweight moisturizer will give them enough extra moisturizer or extra hydration. You still want to wear SPF in the winter, each season, all season. And then, yeah, so I would say that. Yeah.
I do love listening to you talk about your stuff. You just, you really do get into it. Now, if somebody were to want to go into your field for esthetician, you said that there's one school in this particular area. Now, what is it that if you were to talk to somebody who is thinking about going into your field, what is the one thing that you love? If you had to pick one, what is the one thing that you love most about your industry?
So like my favorite service, or just in general?
Just in general, the industry as a whole. I know for you, services is huge, but if there was one thing like you could say to somebody, like, I love being an esthetician because, what would that be?
So it is. I think serving, it comes natural to me. But it's not only meeting new people, but like seeing the rewarding part that I'm always getting with my job is just seeing the transformations of skin and seeing people excited about starting a new regimen, learning things, and the transformation of the skin. In terms of like service, I think I've done it all. Waxing is probably my least favorite. Facials, I could do all day, every day. I love it. I love that hands-on. I love talking to a client about skincare regimens, planning it. It's like my favorite thing to do.
I love it. Well, I am so thankful for you spending time with us today. I really am.
Oh my God, of course. Thank you.
So if you are somebody who is local here in the Capital Region and are interested in connecting with Nicole to set up a session with her for either a consultation or to become a client for services, all of Nicole's information is going to be listed below in this channel here today. And if you are not local but are interested in some education information, her Instagram link is going to be there as well. So feel free to pop over, follow her page, and she will provide you with all kinds of great information there as well. So again, thank you guys for popping in. Make sure that if you haven't yet, make sure you're subscribing to the channel, and we will be back again for our second group for this month on the 28th of January. So stay tuned and we'll be seeing you soon.
Thank you so much.